Good evening and welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Nadun Sirivardhana. Let's have a look at the headlines. Government allocates funds to provide relief for those affected by adverse weather conditions. Central Bank of Sri Lanka releases the Financial Stability Review for the year 2024. News in detail. President Anurukumara Dissanayake has directed officials to provide immediate relief to those affected by the adverse weather conditions across the country. A special focus has been placed on districts impacted by floods and landslides, according to the press release released by the Presidential Media Division recently. In a commitment to assist those in need, the President emphasized that local government officials in affected areas will be mobilized to ensure timely delivery of aid. To support these efforts, the Ministry of Finance has been instructed to allocate 50 million rupees for relief services. President Dissanayake also stressed the importance of proper coordination among state officials to ensure that relief reaches all affected families. According to the Disaster Management Center, 24,492 individuals from 6,018 families in 11 districts have been affected, with 2,200 people from 584 families currently housed in 23 relief centers. Relief operations are being overseen by the Chief of Defence Staff Office. The Central Bank has released its Financial Stability Review for 2024, providing an assessment of Sri Lanka's financial system, including associated vulnerabilities and the measures taken by regulatory authorities to maintain stability. The report, released under the Central Bank of Sri Lanka Act No. 16 of 2023, covers data up to June 2024 with additional updates on key developments. The review presents a cautiously optimistic outlook for the financial system, projecting improvements in asset quality and capital buffers as the economy stabilizes and advances amid ongoing challenges. The CBSL emphasized that while the 2022 crisis caused severe macroeconomic imbalances, these are gradually being corrected through policy measures, reforms and changes in economic behavior. As credit expansion shifts towards the private sector, financial institutions will need to manage pressure on credit quality and capital adequacy. Elevated non-performing loan ratios and limits on large exposures add complexity. Lower deposit rates and downward pressures on lending rates could affect the profitability of financial institutions by narrowing their net interest margins. Financial institutions' significant investment in government securities has provided returns in the past, but these returns are expected to subside, requiring cautious management for further sovereign debt exposure. Delays in addressing certain sovereign debt obligations and suppression of import demand require careful handling to safeguard financial stability. However, the finalization of external debt restructuring would open avenues for accessing more external financial resources, supporting long-term financial stability. President Anurukumara Dissanayake has directed the Ministry of Finance to take immediate action to provide 3,000 rupee monthly interim allowance to all pensioners starting this week. The decision follows a delay in including the allowance in the October pension payments. Despite a circular issued by the Public Administration Department authorizing the allowance, funds were not allocated for its implementation. Acknowledging the financial struggles faced by pensioners, President Dissanayake instructed officials to ensure that the necessary funds are made available. The allowance will now be credited to pensioners' accounts within the next week, and it will be included with their monthly pension from next month onward. New officials, including Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumanayake and Secretary to the Minister of Finance Mahinda Sirivardhana, participated in the meeting. Stay tuned, we will return after this commercial break. Welcome back. President Anurakkumara Dissanayake held a virtual discussion with USAID Administrator Samantha Power, where they explored future avenues for cooperation and discussed matters of mutual interest. During the meeting, Power expressed USAID's willingness to align its support with the government's development plans as outlined in President Disanayake's manifesto. Power also reaffirmed USAID's readiness to assist Sri Lanka in achieving its goals, highlighting the agency's commitment to enhancing development initiatives in the country. This reflects a shared vision of fostering deeper collaboration and providing targeted assistance to drive sustainable progress in line with the government's priorities. Now, the World Bank last week confirmed that there is no new financial support pending for Sri Lanka, but discussions with the new government have commenced to outline future plans for collaboration. World Bank senior country economist for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Richard Walker, affirmed that no new budgetary or program-related assistance is currently in the pipeline for the country.
In terms of budget support plans, we've got no firm plans at the moment. Of course, we need to have a conversation with the new government, understand their reform plans, what they're thinking, and then on our side we can also formulate the kind of support that we can provide, whether it's a budget support or other kind of operations. That's still a conversation that needs to happen, which is starting at the moment. And I think really what's going to avoid another crisis is particularly around this inclusive and sustainable growth. So reforms that can really, I think Shruti showed the projection, I think it was 4.4 this year, and then it tailors a bit down and looks like it's going to be around 3% over the medium term, which we wouldn't say is sort of growth that's going to excite the country or the world. I mean, that's to some extent, I think we're calling it passenger growth in a sense. Sri Lanka really needs to try and transform that and get onto a high level of growth in a more inclusive and sustainable way. I'll keep emphasizing that. And this is to do with some of the reforms that have started. So you look in the factor markets, the labor market. I talked about these archaic pieces of legislation. There has been work to try and consolidate, streamline, improve. You look on the investment side, the investment environment. There's this new Economic Transformation Act. It does lay out, as I said earlier, simplified approach, a better structure, a much, say, cleaner institutional arrangement to attract and support investment. But obviously, this needs to be implemented.
Moving on, the World Food Programme has assured continued support for Sri Lanka through its ongoing initiatives. This was discussed during a meeting held between Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumarnayaka, and a WFP delegation at the Presidential Secretariat recently. The WFP delegation, which included Country Director Abdul Rahim Siddiq, Government Partnership Officers Mustafa Nimhat and Deputy Country Director Gerard Robello, confirmed their commitment to ensuring that WFP programs in Sri Lanka will continue without disruption. While the immediate food crisis in Sri Lanka has somewhat eased, the WFP expressed its readiness to offer further assistance with new programs should additional needs arise. Additional Secretary to the President Roshan Gamage also attended the meeting, highlighting the government's active engagement with international partners to address the nation's food security needs. Stay tuned for the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The All Share Price Index dropped by 47.81 points to close at 12,246.22, and the S&P SL20 dropped by 25.87 points to close at 3,614.78. The turnover was 1.4 billion rupees and over 62 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.